Hi, it's Rifki with Lev Haolam, and you are in for a treat today. I'm in Jerusalem at Salves of Jerusalem with the founder, Simcha Glück. We are going to learn the secrets behind natural, organic skincare and salves. We're going to learn about all of the incredible healing botanical ingredients that are available in the land of Israel. And we're going to find out about Simcha's amazing story. So sit down, get something to drink, and let's meet Simcha. Okay, so if you can just share a little bit about your story and how you and your wife came to be here in Israel, Salves of Jerusalem, all of that.
Wow, yeah, sure, okay. So at this point I'm in my 40s, and when I started dating Rachel 20 years ago, she had already made Aliyah. She was already living in Israel, going to Bar Ilan, and it was a real value for her. And she came back and we met over summer break and we were dating, and then she was going back to Bar Ilan and I was local in college. And it was always a nice idea of moving to Israel. My grandparents are 5 generations of Yerushalmi, righteous sage mystics that lived here for more than 150 years, which is part of a really key part of our backstory too. So I had this idea that we would at some point, one day make Aliyah, we would at some point move to Israel. And eventually I got Rachel to drop out of Bar Ilan, come back to New York, New Jersey area, date me, get married there. And we were sales reps. We opened up a marketing company over there. We had a pretty nice sales and marketing company in Queens, New York together. And we were there and we were having a good life. We were happily married. We were making good money. That was it, right? That makes sense. Then we started to get into self-development and personal development. And we had done a lot of work in getting really good at sales and communication and closing and all the things that are involved in being an entrepreneur and a business owner, but not in like self-development, where we're letting go of scars that we didn't even know that we had that really affect us, that we carry with us, that we don't even know is sort of going in the background. And to say that it was transformational for us and our lives and our marriage, it would be an understatement for sure. But one of the most powerful things that we got from that was, wow, if we can be ourselves, we can recreate ourselves every single day, then who would choose being a Jew in the middle of Queens? Like, why are we here? How does this make any sense for us, Not that there's anything wrong with it, right? Meaning, it's cool for some people, but for us, we felt like we just outgrew it. And sometimes we can outgrow something, and then we just keep doing it because that's who we are. But this was like, we outgrew it. It's time to move to the next thing. So after doing all this self-development workshops, I got into coaching, I got into training. I thought coaching was just something that people did in sports. And all of a sudden, this is like 20 years ago when it was something that they were bringing into business coaching and life coaching, things like that. And within 1 year, we had our best year ever as an office, and we sold our cars, we sold our house, and we made Aliyah, and we came over here to Israel. And we're like, okay, Hashem, we're here, now what? And we had sort of certain things lined up for ourselves professionally wise, work wise, but it was almost a big illusion just so we can feel responsible, because basically within about 3 months of coming here, both of those things sort of fell away, but now we're still here. So it's like, well, what next and what do we do now? And we've had a lot of iterations of ourselves here in Israel, a lot. I've been in real estate. Rachel followed me into real estate. We were a husband and wife team. We helped move like more than 160 families to this amazing part of Jerusalem called Armon HaNatziv. And that was a real gift. We helped to start some schools over there and a whole lot of chesed programs and like a lot of really cool things. And then along the way, my calling for self-development and training and coaching led me to become co-founder of an entrepreneurial training company called FreshBiz. So my book, The New Entrepreneurs, came out 10 years ago. It's in a bunch of languages, and we created a business game where basically playing our business simulation game helps to make people better in business. It's sort of like Monopoly teaches people that business is about destroying and financially bankrupting people, and our game is about how we win together, collaboratively, innovatively. So it's more what I would say values that are better aligned. And wow, along the way, we had a personal health crisis back in 2018. That was really life-changing. And I had to go from being this global trainer that was traveling around the world, training really big companies, really awesome MBA programs and entrepreneurship programs and startup programs and business accelerators and all this type of high-tech training stuff. into being more local and to really being here for my family at a time that was very, very, very needed. And because of the health crisis and because of our own health journey, where it took us more than 10 years until we were able to have children, and thank God in the end they came to us naturally, and we have 3 boys right now, and they're aged 10 and 8 and 6, they're awesome. But that got me down this whole world of really focusing on what health means and how we apply it, and what does it look like to be using things that are more natural, that are God-given or God-created, as opposed to just we buy in some store that some pharmacy made or some laboratory made. Obviously there's good products there too, but just starting to be more health conscious. And that led me along the way to sort of doing a lot of DIY stuff. Do it yourself this, I'm gonna make a little this, I'm gonna try to make my own toothpaste, I'm gonna try to make my own deodorant, all this kind of stuff. And along the way I bumped into this amazing woman named Debbie. And Debbie is a really righteous lady who lived among the Amish for 10 years on her personal journey of becoming a Jew, because she was a Christian, and then she was Messianic, and then she found her way to Judaism, and it's like a whole also story of transformation. Debbie lived among the Amish for about 10 years and learned salve making and balm making with the traditional Amish dynamics and recipes and things like that. And when she heard that we were pregnant, so she gave Rachel and I, literally a jar just full of this yummy salve. And this was the one that has the frankincense and the myrrh. We'll talk more about that later, but it was delicious. It just felt awesome. And Rachel put it on her face, and she would put it on her belly at night, and it was just, we were seeing results. And I said, Debbie, you got to teach me how to make this. So she started teaching me how to make these salves and these balms as well. And when she eventually moved from Israel back to the States, so I asked if I could continue, basically making this, if I could turn it into a business. And she said, oh, it'd be my greatest pleasure in the whole world. It'd be my, really a gift for me, so that I can leave Israel and you keep this going. And we're friends to this day, and we have a whole partnership that we have set up also, just to be fair. And we've rolled out a whole bunch of new products since then, because I really became a salve maker. And this is my therapy, and this is my healing. And this is the way that I get to share that with people all over the place. And it makes me so excited to be able to, I would say, especially in today's world where it's very high tech and it's very fast, and it's the next digital and the next optical and the next virtual and the next all that stuff, that to have something that's just fragrant and tactile and aromatherapeutic and real, it brings a sense of balance and fulfillment to my life that's just so needed and so awesome. So that's what we do. At this point now, we've rolled out, I think we have 7 different products and then different combinations of different gift sets and things like that. And I get to be up here, and it's precision. There's cups and teaspoons and tablespoons and metrics, and really having to make the right balances of oils and of butters, and there's a lot that goes into it. So for me, it's a place where I get to just have really good either meditative music on in the background, some tikkun klali, something just like that puts me into a good vibe, like hang drums or flutes, and just to measure and be precise and smell and make. And my neighbors already know. They say, when you're making salves and balms, please open up all your windows, because we smell it and we love it. And I literally open up all my windows and I share it, and it's really nice. That's a little bit of a long story kept long, I guess, about how we how we got to Israel and how we got into salve making, and here we are.
I love it. Actually, your story of opening the windows and letting the fragrance out reminds me of the incense offering at the Beit HaMikdash in the temple, when it would scent all of Jerusalem. So you're like in a good tradition, I think, of fragrancing the air.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We were talking about this before we even got started, but the Herbal Family Salve, which is by far the number one seller on our site that people love and they refill, and in some cases locally they bring me back their jars to refill their jars, right? They get a little bit of a discount. In other places we just send it around the world, but there's biblical frankincense and myrrh in there, and the person that I get all my organic essential oils from literally sources it from the best people in Ethiopia, the best people in Somalia, and the resin, the tree sap, it's pure biblical stuff that we're working with over here. the different ingredients you mentioned in the ketoret, which is the incense, so there's also cassia and cinnamon, and I'll take out a little bit later, but I'll take out some of the cinnamon lip balms. You'll have a chance to smell what it's heavenly material over here. Yeah.
Incredible. And during the time, during biblical times, the Israelites were buying those balms and tree saps from these same areas, right? So it continues the same tradition.
Traditionally, that's where a lot of it comes from. There's certainly a lot of indigenous herbs and roots and things that we have. The frankincense and myrrh, we don't really have too much of that here in Israel. We recently, let's say in the past bunch of decades, we've been growing frankincense and myrrh, but traditionally where it's found more in like the African regions over there. But we have a lot of essential oils in general. We use a lot of our herbs, whether it be calendula or chamomile or helichrysum. So that's all stuff that grows organically here up in the Golan. At some point I'd love to show you, I harvested a whole bunch of wild chamomile that was like literally in one of my fields in Arnona where I live in this area. So I literally harvested tons of wild chamomile right around Pesach time, around Passover time is when it's just beautiful, white and yellow. And so I'll show you my trays. Washed it, dried it. It's now drying in the sun, and then we're going to put that into the infusions that we use to make the salves and balms that we do. But yeah, a lot of local stuff and a lot of also away.
Amazing. So Simcha, you mentioned that your family is 5-generation Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that family history? It sounds intriguing.
Yeah, sure. So I guess what I'll tell you is like this. My dad's family is from Poland. So when we do Holocaust Memorial Day, it's pretty significant for us because the majority of his family, unfortunately, was wiped out in Poland. My dad only had basically his father and his uncle survive. A really big family. They had distilleries, they had breweries, they had all sorts of interesting things. And thank God I'm alive today because my grandfather's brother had a dream where the night before he was going to go on a boat to the U.S., he had a dream where the ship sank. So he said, there's no way I'm going to get on that ship. So my grandfather said, well, if you're not, then I am. And thank God he did, because only he and his brother Abe, who I'm named after, Simcha Avraham, right? But they were the only ones who basically made it. So that's my dad's side from Poland. My mom's side, my Bubby and Zayda, my grandparents are 4 and 5 generations of Yerushalmi Jews. My Bubby's brother, Rabbi Yaakov Weisberg, is one of the most famous artists in Meisharim Gula. He just died about 3 or 4 years ago. His work was unbelievable. 3D, pop-up, like incredible stuff at a time that nobody was doing that stuff. And the story is said of my Zayda, Rabbi Ephraim Rubin. He was a mohel, so he did Mila his entire life. He taught Rabbi Pesach Kron Mila too, and taught me my Bar Mitzvah Parsha. He'd blow the shofar with us. He was like a real Zayda from Meisharim Gula. And his great-grandfather used to basically make homemade soaps and then get on a donkey and go out to Shechem to sell it to the Arabs that lived over there. That was what he did on a regular basis. And I didn't know about this, but when my Zayda passed away a few years ago, and I was talking to my cousins. One of my cousins is like a real archivist. She's really into genealogy, really into documenting, and I was showing her our salve making stuff, and she said, "Oh my gosh, it's so perfect that you're doing this, because just so you know, this is what your great grandfather did." So it really sort of put things into alignment and perspective for me in a very real way. My Bubby and Zayda, they both grew up in Meisharim Gula. They had moved to New York when they were younger. Just one of them to help out their parents, another one needed to go as well for also for some sort of Kibbut Avayim project, also with parents and help and things. And they met at a kochek at the same wedding, and they looked familiar to each other, and really cool to be able to come back here and raise a family here and have all 3 of my boys speaking fluent Hebrew, or which is a gift, and to really close that loop, to close that circuit.
That's incredible. It must make you really feel a sense of you're in the right place, doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. I'll never forget. We were running our sales and marketing company when we decided that we're gonna move to Israel. And a lot of the managers, we were the only Jewish managers. Every other manager in this company was not Jewish for the most part, And So really awesome people, really good, like good friends, you know, we're in touch to this day. And then they would say things like, wait, so you guys are going to go to Israel? That's cool. For how long? And we would answer, no, we're going to move to Israel permanently. And they go, how do you know you're going to move anywhere permanently? It's like, no, you don't understand. It's not just another place. Israel is our home. So it's like saying I'm going home to be home. It's not like I'm going to go on another trip or another vacation. But it was difficult for them to understand that. How do you know you're moving anywhere permanently? It's like, no, because we're going back to our home. That's how we know it's going to be permanent, you know? But it's a choice that we keep on choosing.
I've never heard anybody describe it that way, and I absolutely agree 100%, and I love it. It really is. It's not transitional in any way. So everybody knows that starting a business from point A to point B, it's not a straight line. There's usually challenges and mishaps and roadblocks. So what has it been like for you since you began? Have you had any types of challenges?
No. Yeah, no, okay, that's not true. Yeah, it's never a straight line like you said. And it's always a journey. It's a journey of personal growth and it's a journey of business growth. And those two often overlap, and there's a lot of stuff in between. But I'll just tell you that in the beginning, I just did it just as a personal pleasure. You know, we would give it as gifts. We would go somewhere for Shabbat. Someone would come to us. Someone would get married. So it was just nice to have us as gifts. And then people really wanted to come back, and they wanted more. And that's when we decided to turn it into a business. And mishaps along the way, my goodness. In the very beginning, I was just learning about essential oils, so I still didn't realize that there's different levels of it. There's regular stuff that you can buy at the store, which are sometimes called absolutes, which is not designed to be actually put on your skin, but it's only designed to smell. There's stuff that's certified therapeutic, there's stuff that's medicinal grade, there's stuff that's organic. I didn't know about any of this stuff. So I remember early on I bought something from the store and I made a batch and the whole thing was like applesauce. Like I didn't even understand how I made applesauce when I was making salves with the same recipe. And my friend Debbie, who I called because I was flipping out, was like, Simcha, that means it used an absolute essential oil. And absolutes are nice for smell, but not for skin. Okay, so I threw out a massive batch that I made and I threw out all my essential oils, and that's when I started looking for a real distributor of certified organic medicinal grade, and I found, and I love him, and he's my only person that I use since then. We took care of that. And then I had my ceramicist, who was the wonderful lady who was up north, break her leg and she couldn't work her kiln anymore, and I had a lot of orders and I was out of jars, and I was just like, ugh. So I needed to figure out, well, what now? So that's when I started to introduce like the tins, because the tins, A, people can travel with them, and B, I don't need a ceramicist to do her fine work for that. And then also it gave me time to find a new ceramicist. So we came up with the tins as part of the idea for having to sort of pivot and be creative, because my ceramicist broke her leg. And then we found a couple of other ceramicists, so we would have some built-in redundancies, so that if anybody gets sick or can't work for a little bit, we have other people who can do it too. So that was very helpful. And at one point we bought corks and the corks didn't fit. And it's like, oh my gosh, so I had to, like I was trying to figure out, am I gonna start sawing corks to make each one? If I do that, then the cork residue winds up in the salve. That's not so nice. So we had to find different places along the way. You're always having to create and recreate. And I'll tell you something that has been a really big gift in working with Lev Haolam is we basically, when we found each other, one of the things that was needed was Lev Haolam, you guys needed us to make, I think it was like 10,000 of our salves for one of these amazing, beautiful Jerusalem boxes that came out. Now 10,000 is awesome, but in my kitchen, in my herbalism studio, in my space, I'm also a father, I'm also a husband, I also need to get out of here a little bit too sometimes and breathe air, so it wasn't going to be so doable. And what was awesome was that the connections that you guys made for me was with the connection of an organic factory. And at this point of the relationship that I have with Amir, it's awesome, and it allows us now to scale as big as we want to go. I've shared my recipes with him, I've done quality control with him, I've gone over, we've like literally experimented and tested and tried the different ingredients together. It's been a really nice process for us. And just right there, that one move has been so epic for us, because you know it's hard to sometimes see how you're going to scale, and I didn't necessarily really see that. It's like, okay, I can keep on making my salves, and all of a sudden this comes into the picture, and it's a whole new ability for us to do things. And then part of Lev Haolam also was introducing us to Asaf from Touchwood Design, who makes these amazing, beautiful gift sets, which is what this looks like over here. You know, where we punch this wood out, and we basically can build a really beautiful gift set, and it's just like, wow, that boosted our brand. I didn't see that. I couldn't have created that. I mean, we have a nice brand, but wow, what a boost to be able to print mosaica, you know, on wood and be able to just pop these things up. So there's been a lot of stuff where it's a combination that you have a vision and you're trying to figure it out, and I'm trying to roll out new products based on what people are asking for. And then at the same time, Hashem is really good, and he sends us exactly what we need to be able to go in different routes that maybe we couldn't see initially. And I've just been trying to just be open and stay humble to like, oh, okay, we're gonna do this right now also. Okay, let's do that a little bit. Or, oh, okay, we're gonna go in this direction right now. And that's sort of the give and take of how things grow. And in terms of our business growth, we've been doing this for 7 years. And for the most part, it's been really organic, like really mamash, really just like one customer to the next, and then referrals, and then repeat business, and then this one gets to this, and then they tell their friend, oh my God, it worked on my face, or worked on my belly, or it worked on my body, or whatever. And then people come back, and certainly we've been doing things like other people have with social media and sending out messages and things like that. But it's really amazing just how much organic growth and just doing what you do and staying on track just leads to expanded results.
Simcha, when I'm talking to you, I really get the feeling, the sense that you are spiritually connected and you definitely have a relationship with Hashem. Have you ever had a miracle moment where you just really felt Hashem acting in your life?
Wow, yeah. Yeah, so the answer is in general, yes. I really feel led on a regular basis is the truth. Being up in my studio is a place of peace and tranquility for me, and I really feel it here. I've had a lot of moments. One of those moments is with Lev Haolam, you know, and that's why I love that we're doing this, because I really have so much respect and appreciation for the work that you do. And not only the work that you do, but also the collaborations that you make. We're talking about this, you know, it's not just, you know, a one-off, it's a whole ecosystem that there's a lot of collaborations that happen within the network, within the Lev Haolam ecosystem. So that partnership with the factory for me was totally God's hand in it through Lev Haolam, because again, it's very easy to just sort of like, okay, I'm here in my studio and I don't know, you know, it's cute. It's a cute business, right? And at the same time, growing from a cute business to like, oh, we're maturing the business, that we're growing to a professional business. We have tens of thousands of orders that are happening. That takes something, and it takes more than I could figure out on my own. So that was really a big Hashem moment where I was led to an awesome partner, be able to have a factory. One of the things that Amir also helped me out with, by the way, is he helped me to get a lot of my products that are Ministry of Health approved. I shop the local organic supermarkets over here, you know, and I made friends with the manager because I'm one of his really good customers, which means I probably spend too much at his store, if I'm being honest. But anyways, it was a good partnership and relationship, and I brought him my salves, and he said, I would love to carry this, I'm going to introduce you. So I literally went to the owner of the whole chain in Herzliya, and I showed him my stuff, and he goes, I'd love to do business, you just need to have Ministry of Health approval. And then my factory partners, like, we're on it. So Ministry of Health approval came through for almost 70 or 80% of our products right now at this moment. So we can already deploy here locally in Israel and Jerusalem, which is so nice. So that was definitely a Hashem moment. I had an awesome Hashem moment happen really just this past week. I mean, really just this past week. I have a good friend, and he's helping me just from a consulting perspective, just to think about my business with fresh eyes. And so we get together, and I've been helping him with a lot of other things too, and it's been a good relationship. And at one point he was walking in Ben Yehuda, he was walking in town, and he just took a picture, sent it to me on WhatsApp. He said, this could be a really good partner for you. And it was of this little tiny micro store that sells organic candles and soaps. And it was just a picture, and it was just literally just a little like line, hey, this could be a really good partner for you. And again, you know, I could be like, oh, thanks for thinking of me, you know, and then I can go about my day, which is certainly one way that people can respond, and certainly how I've responded in the past. But in that moment, I was just like, okay, this is Hashem sending me a message. So I'm going to go to that store tomorrow. And not only am I going to go to that store tomorrow, I'm going to bring gifts. I'm going to show up with like gifts to show them and explain, maybe we could be partners on this, because I right now just do salves, I just do balms. I couldn't go through the process of learning how to be a soap maker and a candle maker, or I can maybe just get a new collaboration with someone that already does it, and maybe I can fill in the gaps for him, and we can have a really good partnership. I go to Ben Yehuda the next day, I meet up with my dad, and after I finish with my dad, I go to this little shop, and I almost missed it. I mean, it's 5 square meters. This guy, I met him afterwards, super good guy. He's been selling organic clothing in town for 18 years. And because his wife is very into health and wellness and started getting into product making, so he decided to convert their little machsan, their storage unit, into a store. Anyways, I give him my salves, I tell him about what we're doing, he shows me his stuff, he sent me back with a whole lot of products, I sent him home with a whole bunch of products, and we really have a great relationship. Like, we're excited to work together. He's got the local Israeli market down, I have the international market and the distribution over there around, which is fantastic also. We're really going to fill in the gaps for each other. So that just happened this past week. I mean, that was something I didn't expect or know about until my friend just sent me a picture and wrote a little line. And then I showed up, prepared with my stuff, and we sat and wound up turning into a 2-hour meeting with coffee in the middle of Ben Yehuda Street. It was really awesome. So, for me, the message, because not every day is perfect, and there's a lot of, especially we're in times of war, and we have a lot of sad moments and a lot of depressing moments, but for me, the theme and the message is just like, keep going, just go another day. And then when you go another day, that's when some of the gifts sometimes show up. And that was just one of those gifts this past week.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Thanks.
It's very Israeli too, of like, we rise together. It's collaborative, not competitive, that we want to see everybody succeed, which I think is very cool.
I really feel that I had this really awesome lady who does organic skincare in Israel, who reached out to me. She said, I just read your book, right? And it's all about entrepreneurship and thinking differently, right? It's a different conversation, but I just read your book, and if you live in Jerusalem, I live in Jerusalem, can we get together? And I said, sure. I had no background about her, but she lives by the Shuk, and I go to the Shuk sometimes, so we got together, and she could not believe at first that she has a skincare company, and then she finds out that I have a skincare company, and she makes organic salves, and I make organic salves, and we're talking openly about stuff, and it's just like, we are, on the most superficial level, we are competition because you sell skincare and I sell skincare, but on the deeper level, I mean, there's way too many people in the world for me to service and for you to service, so we can just become friends and just give each other best practices and maybe buy together or maybe save together. And it was such a refreshing conversation. Like, she wasn't sure, is this okay? Are we allowed to do this? Are you going to give me traits? It's like, no, we're cool. You're a professional, I'm a professional, and there's just enough for all of us. I mean, that's literally what Shefa, what abundance is. So I'm with you on that, on every level. Yeah.
She also is a Lev Haolam partner.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Esther? Very cool.
Yes.
Oh, she's the sweetest.
She did an amazing project with us with frankincense skin serum.
Okay.
So.
Oh, very cool. Oh, I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
She is such a sweetheart. She's got
amazing.
such a good family, and her husband is a good friend of mine too. And very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Amazing.
I love it. Simcha, one of the things about Salves of Jerusalem that I think really set it apart from anything I've ever seen before is the packaging. The ceramic jars are spectacular, so I'm so curious how you arrived at this style of packaging.
Yeah, good question. My friend Debbie taught me how to make salves and balms, right, who lived among the Amish for about a decade. And the first gift that she ever gave us was an herbal family salve in a ceramic jar. And we kept up the relationship and the friendship with her ceramicist, and it's awesome. So that's where it began. It just began from this beautiful jar, all different colors, so you had all different personalities choosing all different jars to hold their herbal family salve. And then when it came time to design the tins, so we basically got my friend's wife, Anat, involved, who does branding, does design. We wanted to really feel Jerusalem, and sort of a lot of the Israel mosaica was like a natural way to do that. So we went with the mosaica look. And the ceramic jar certainly also, it's a nice medium to hold the salve because it really holds it for a very long time. We put a cork in on top, and that cork allows everything to stay inside, which is really good. Since that first iteration, we now have a couple of ceramicists that we work with. So we have Diganit that makes our larger jars. And she's the best. She was living in Jerusalem for a while, moved to Renana. I went to her studio over there. I watched her make it, and we have beautiful big jars. And at this point, with the smaller jars that we had that we use, so there's an amazing organization in Jerusalem called Susan's House. Their whole philosophy, their whole mission is that they basically take teens at risk and they train them in trades and vocational skills. So they're doing baking and cooking and ceramics and jewelry making and all sorts of different things. And at one point, Rachel came out and just met them over there and was so impressed with the quality and what they do. She's like, this would be really nice sort of for social entrepreneurship to have this kind of mission as part of what we do also. And they're amazing. So they have about 5 different teens that make our jars right now. We like the colors, they send it over. They're just so happy to work with us and they really love it. So it's such a nice, again, it's just an obvious, easy fit, a nice win-win. We have a couple of other ceramics that we work with too, but that's our brand. We just want it to be authentic Jerusalem and really convey that.
Good. And then the tins that you have also, how did you come to choose tins as a way of packaging?
Yeah, it seems, that we needed something that was less fragile, that we could ship easier, that would be more transportable for people. Because people were saying to us, hey, I take this with me, but it's like if it breaks, all of a sudden I'm cleaning it up. It's like a whole deal. We got to our tins just because it was a very obvious need. In other words, we wanted people to have more transportability with the salves, and it didn't make sense that in the same jar that we would fill it with different stuff, because then somebody might mix up the Magic Muscle Balm, which cannot go near eyes or privates, with, let's say, something that certainly can. So we decided to just go with tins, and we work with an Israeli company. They bring in the tins, and easy, transportable, super to carry, not breakable. Worst thing happens, it falls, it gets a little din to it, whatever, not a big deal. And that's the story in a nutshell. And then it just came, how do we make it us, right? Without it just being just another tin out there, and that just comes down to branding. So let's say in our case with the branding, so everything has the mosaic, but based on each product, it has its own coloration to it. And then on the back of it is always the ingredients that come in there and how they can contact. So that's the story of the tins in a nutshell.
I'm very intrigued by the 2 bottles that are next to you. Yeah, can you tell me about that?
So a big part of what we do is, let me just start with this, just to go back a little bit. When people make creams, the connotation of creams is that they're basically making different things using water. When you make a salve or a balm, you're making it using olive oil and beeswax. So cream is one thing with aqua, with water, and then salves and balms are with basically wax, beeswax and olive oil. So once we're doing that, we get organic olive oil from these farmers that have been doing it for 30 years right outside Beit Shemesh. They're amazing. A lot of my jerry cans over here that I basically buy around Hanukkah season is in there. Organic, fully ripened, black suri olive oil. And then once you have it as a medium, so what we do is we basically make infusions. So for example, this is for the Magic Muscle Balm. I have a label on it too that tells me. And this infusion for the Magic Muscle Balm, which is all peppermint, camphor, wintergreen, tea tree, and eucalyptus, all the mentholy, what's called analgesics, which are pain relieving essential oils, is one thing, but then we use arnica. So this is arnica montana flowers and organic arnica sitting in olive oil for a couple months at a time. Really is a good infusion, gives the oil itself all the medicinal properties that are anti-inflammatory when it comes to the arnica. And then using cheesecloths, I basically strain that out, and that's what goes in with the melted beeswax and the shea butter and the coconut oil. So this is an infusion right now of organic olive oil with arnica montana, and this is the anti-inflammatory one that goes in Magic Muscle Balm, as opposed to this one over here goes in every other one of our salves that we make. And these are all just great for skincare. So it's calendula, helichrysum, and chamomile, with a little bit of golden seal in there too. And the chamomile flowers and the helichrysum and the calendula, these are all, the skin just drinks it up. So we do the same thing with those flowers in here. We strain it out and we combine it with other olive oil and beeswax and shea butter and coconut and vitamin E and the essential oils. And then you have your salves. So I have a number of these jars just sitting in a dark place, just basically soaking up and extracting out from the flowers all the medicinal properties, so that this way we can put it right inside the salves that people use on their bodies.
How long is each infusion in the olive oil before you use it?
Usually for a couple months. Usually for a couple months. I have a slow cooker, and sometimes if I get a really big order and I need to fulfill it and I don't have enough time to be able to go through that process, so you can accelerate that process by basically putting in a what's it called, like a crock pot, all the flowers, all the olive oil, and having it be on a very low temperature for a few days. And you can sort of accelerate the same process that takes place like this, but I prefer this process. This is like a natural process, so that's how it works. But usually over the course of a couple months, it really goes through a good extraction process, and then this way I know that it's got all the medicinal properties to it.
The one that you talked about, the helichrysum, the calendula, the chamomile, that goes in pretty much, that goes in the family balm or in everything?
Yeah, that goes in the herbal family salve, it goes in the organic baby butter, it goes in the happy hand balm.
So it goes in a lot of things.
It goes in a lot.
So Simcha, I'd love it if you could tell me about those 3 flowers that you have the infusion right there. You said that you use it in multiple of your products.
Yeah, okay, for sure. So in this infusion, we have calendula, chamomile, and helichrysum. So I guess I'm going to start with, I was really excited because as someone who's really into herbalism, I went out to this open field in Arnona, where I live in Jerusalem, and I basically literally handcrafted chamomile, and this stuff just smells so good. It comes out around Pesach time, around Passover. So my kids were playing soccer, and then Daddy was just in a field immersed in chamomile, just literally picking, and I cleaned it, washed it, dried it, and now it goes into my infusion. Chamomile is so nourishing. It's very relaxing, it's very calming. A lot of people don't know this, but it would be great if they did. It would be great if everybody knew this, that instead of needing to use aspirin or Tylenol as a fever reducer, when someone has like a really high fever, you could just drink very large amounts of chamomile, and that is a natural fever breaker. So the same stuff that it does by relaxing the body is what it does basically for the skin. So chamomile is amazing, it smells relaxing, it smells delicious, and it literally is a calming agent, we'll say. The second item that we have here, the second flower that we have in here, is we have calendula. Calendula is a beautiful like orange and red flowers, and they have a lot of flavonoids in there, and they're really good for wound healing. Very much, it's anti-inflammatory, it's very good for helping wounds. In addition, we also have helichrysum, and helichrysum are these very obvious sort of yellow clusters, and again, also anti-inflammatory, fantastic for wound healing. And when you put all these together, what happens is you create like a very holistic solution that just gives the skin nourishment, moisturization, anti-inflammatory, it's protective. Also in the case of helichrysum, it's antibacterial. So some of these things are antibacterial and antimicrobial, and what can I say? I mean, it really just makes the skin have that added additional layer of protection for it. Olive oil is good. We'll get into olive oil too. Adding in these additional properties really boost it.
Oh my gosh, it smells incredible.
It's so good. It's got these nice white flowers and a yellow bulby middle to it.
Unbelievable.
And oh wow, that's nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. It's amazing. It really is. Okay, Simcha, let's talk about olive oil.
Let's talk about olive oil. I get all of my organic olive oil from farmers that have been doing this for about 40 years, and they grow fully ripened black suri olives, and it's a family business. They're really sweet. I've been getting it from them for 7 years. I have to actually top off my arnica infusion right now. So what we'll do is we'll do a little pouring job at the same time as well.
Okay.
Olive oil, I just want to say, is all the polyphenols and all the oleic acid make it something that is super duper duper antioxidant. And in light of the scenarios that we're living in nowadays with all the Wi-Fi and all the electromagnetic frequencies that are out there, having things that can collect free radicals, having things that can help boost the body. So olive oil in the famous Mediterranean diet is fantastic, and that's like consuming olive oil. At the same time, because the skin is the largest organ, when we put really good olive oil on the outside of our skin also. It's a way of getting olive oil from the inside and the outside of our body. So all this is a huge antioxidant process.
So Simcha, this olive oil, you could cook with it, eat with it?
Oh my gosh, we cook with it, we eat with it. This is a super quality olive oil, and that's why I'm so happy. Again, we eat it, we drink it, we put it in our salads, and we definitely put it into all of our salves and balms.
That is very cool. And you know, I really do believe this. I think that olive oil and flowers that grow in the Holy Land have holiness in them. They have extra special healing qualities.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too. This is the famous idea that we have the 7 species of Israel, right? The Eretz, Chita, Saora, Gefen, Utena, Verimon, Zeit, Shemen, Udvash. In short, pomegranates and dates and grapes and figs and wheat and barley and shemen zayit and olives and olive oil. So it's one of the 7 indigenous species that we have to be almost like plant medicine here in Israel.
Right.
So to use it and to use the best of it, and then to even boost it by adding in other medicinal herbs that I get from the Golan, the Galil, or that I wildcraft like the chamomile, and putting all that in, is in my mind all the additional layers and layers and layers of love and medicine that goes into it.
When I saw these that you harvested near your home, it's like I could imagine our biblical ancestors, right? Going out with their woven bags and collecting the flowers, and I'm sure they were making infusions like this during temple times.
Yeah, exactly.
Healing infusions. Isn't that amazing?
The whole idea, for example, that we have the incense and we have all the different divine prescriptions of what to put into the temple service. You know, the only thing we were not allowed to do is make that exact recipe, but we can take aspects of the recipes, we can take aspects of the ingredients and do other ratios and do other measurements and things like that, and we can use it and enjoy it. So I don't doubt for a second that people have been, you know, crafting these wildflowers all over the Golan and the Galil and down in the desert areas, and each area, right, has its own medicine, which is the famous idea also in Chinese medicine too. But certainly here we're able to go ahead, we're able to infuse it all together the right way, and we just come out with, you know, product after product that really helps boost the skin or boost the body. Yeah.
I'm very excited to find out about your products. And the first thing that I noticed was Happy Hand Balm. Who comes up with the names?
We come up with the names, and our customers very often come up with a lot of the uses that they want something very specific.
I see.
So Happy Hand Balm was our way of creating something for people that have a lot of sensitivities, whether it be psoriasis, whether it be eczema, or also people who are very sensitive to fragrances, aromatherapies, and smells. So the Happy Hand Balm, for example, you gotta just see how nice this is too. It has no essential oils in there whatsoever, but it has a rich infusion of the organic Calendula chamomile helichrysum, vitamin E, and something called organic sea buckthorn oil, which gives it like a nice yellowy color, and the skin drinks it up. So that's what Happy Hand Balm is. It's designed so you can put it on your hands, and if you don't have to smell a smell if you don't want, but you really want it to be protective for dry or cracked hands or skin in general. So that's Happy Hand Balm, was to convey.
So with this, you could do hands, elbows, legs, feet, face? Could you put it on your face?
You could definitely put it on face.
Wow.
For people who are smell averse, which, believe it or not, it's a thing, okay? So they could certainly put this on their face as opposed to the herbal family salve, which we'll talk about, or the baby butter, or things like that.
Fantastic.
And
And then Simcha, I wonder if you can tell me about this cute little
gift set.
Yeah,
sure. So this is what the gift set looks like. And the herbal family salve is the same salve that we make. This is our flagship product that comes in the different types of ceramic jars too. So the herbal family salve is the only product that we make that has frankincense and myrrh in it. And Yerushalayim in the temple is usually known as the valley of frankincense and myrrh. That's what it talks about in Shir HaShirim and Song of Songs. So this is the herbal family. It's got everything from rosemary and lavender and geranium, tea tree, patchouli, myrrh, rosemary, frankincense. It's a very robust, aromatic salve that we make. The herbal family salve is awesome for, I would say, pretty much everything. Face, body, skin, stretch marks, burns, bug bites. This can go in wounds. This is antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial. So it's really, really healing. Before us filming today, so I jumped in a quick shower, and when the hot water opens up the pores, so when I come out of the shower, this is what all of our customers and me put on my face and then put it up into hair gel afterwards too. So this is the herbal family salve. And then this is the baby butter. And the baby butter has a little bit, like I said, of a yellowish tinge to it as well, because of, as opposed to the herbal family. I'll just show you really quick.
Oh, wow.
And that's because the baby butter also has the sea buckthorn oil in there too. So this one has vitamin E, and it only has 3 essential oils. So it has frankincense and tea tree and lavender. This way it's very basic, it's very gentle. Just give it like a nice smell too.
Oh, that's nice. I can imagine that on a baby's skin.
Yeah.
It's so delicate.
I have people who use it on every single diaper change. They use it in their ganim. They use it on cradle cap. I have runners that put it on their feet at night just because they just like the gentle smell of it. But this works wonders for babies where people are using other products. So this is, again, clean, no toxins, no chemicals, no asbestos, no any of, if you get the reference. And that's basically in terms of what the organic baby butter is and the herbal family salve.
Little baby containers. What's the story with these?
Okay, so these are our lip balms.
Okay.
And the lip balms are really nice. What I found is that there's different types of people. There are sort of warmer people that are really into the cinnamon. And this is cinnamon with a little bit of cardamom and vanilla. And then there's people who they're the cooler people. And the cooler people are more into what's called mouth-watering mint lips. And this is wintergreen and mint, and it's really delicious, really delicious. This for the cinnamon lip balm, I make my own vanilla infusion, where this is AAA certified organic vanilla beans that basically is just sitting for a couple months at this point in here. And every single time I make a batch. So it just gets a nice little infusion. You can even see, I don't know if you can see all the vanilla just like floating around in there, but it's really beautiful and it adds such an aromatic smell. It's unbelievable.
I have to smell it. Okay, I can just smell like a burst of cinnamon. It reminds me, of sitting by the fire in the winter. It's snowing outside and I'm all warm and snuggly inside, eating ginger snap biscuits.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm in for that.
Oh yeah, that's incredible.
And then even just from handling this, can you smell the vanilla?
Oh yeah, the vanilla is fantastic.
I'm gonna put some in my beard.
Vanilla is such a comforting smell. Really just, I guess it's from like cooking biscuits and cakes and cookies. It makes you feel like something good's about to happen.
Yeah, and the little hint of cardamom almost adds like a little bit of a chocolatey sort of to it. So it's like a chocolatey cinnamon kind of vanilla fragrance.
Simcha, if you could say anything to the members of Lev Haolam who support Israel through the packages, what would you say to them?
Wow, what would I say? What I would say is thank you so much. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for thinking of us. Thank you for choosing to be part of the people who bless Israel and will be blessed. It is a totally different headspace for me when I wake up in the morning knowing that I'm just making salves and weighing beeswax in my house versus when I'm doing this to be able to send this out to thousands and thousands of people around the globe, around the world who think about us, who love us, who want to show their support, who choose Israel as a value and choose the products that come out of Israel as something that's really important to them. So I just have love and appreciation.
And I know that the products that we send from you connect our members to Israel. Does making these salves connect you to Israel in any way?
Definitely. When we use indigenous things to Israel, like we were talking about the indigenous, herbs and the fruits and the vegetables, the 7 species, and that it not just be some sort of biblical something, but that it's actually part of the medicines that we're using to be able to live better lives, to look better, to feel better, to smell better, to preserve ourselves, to preserve our bodies. One of the things that we know is that the body is basically something that is a vehicle for a soul. So all that stuff is just really important, that we can take healing medicinal herbs and flowers and plants and fruits and things from the land, combine it, and weave something together that, that works and smells awesome. That's great.
Simcha, what do you wish people knew about Israel?
Wow, that it's a vibrant nation, that we have such a variety of different things over here, I'm really into permaculture, and I'm really into that kind of stuff, and I think it's so remarkable that Israel has so many microclimates in very specific areas, from the desert to the lakes to the seas to the mountains and the forests. And I know that people are very into the game of Settlers of Catan, but going back biblically to Settlers of Canaan, where you had the 12 tribes that were basically trading with each other and bartering with each other because they each had their own specific resources across the entire land. So I feel like that's very much the ecosystem that we have nowadays. People have what they have, they trade with their friends, they do different arrangements and different barter systems and different businesses and different arrangements. And I love that everything is so varied over here in such a small little compact area, yet I feel like we have everything.
Simcha, for people who are visiting Jerusalem for the first time, where do they have to go?
Where do they have to go? Wow. If they're visiting Jerusalem for the first time, you have got to go to the Temple Mount, and you got to go really experience what that looks like. You got to do it the right way. That's not for right now, but you got to go to the Temple Mount and see what makes Jerusalem the capital of Israel and really the center of all of spirituality and the world of the metaphysical. And then I'd say on the flip side, on the more social side, you got to go to the Shuk. Shuk Machane Yehuda is awesome, and you could really feel the personality and the vibe and the eclectic nature of all the people and all the shops and all the spices and everything that is seasonal and local coming to market. And I gotta tell you that I have some of my best days where I just head out to the Shuk just to feel the energy of it. That's what I would say.
I am very intrigued by the fact that this space that we're in, it really is your boutique factory, that these pots this is where you make this stuff.
Yeah, we make everything here. These are my pots. You could still smell the herbal family in there. That smells.
Oh wow! You really can still smell it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
So this is aromatherapy.
That just transports you.
101.
Wow.
And then over here, so this you can still see it's a little bit low tech, but this is my times 6. I'm making a times 6 batch, and this is mouth-watering mint lips, so you can still smell the mint.
You can. Do you have to have separate pots for different products?
It's a good question. I have a number of pots just because it's easier for me to do that. Because when you rinse it out, you're rinsing out beeswax and oil, and you got to do a really, really thorough rinse out. But we do a really thorough rinse out, and these are my burners that I basically cook and make everything on. When we get the really, really big orders, so then we outsource to the factory. But for everything else, that's me, that's here, and then over here is our packaging and shipping area. But this is my space. You have to see. I just a couple nights ago we had about a few hundred of the little tins out. We were pouring cinnamon lip balms, and the whole counter was just cinnamon lip balms in the pots. And
so when you say we were pouring, who's the we?
Me and Rachel.
Amazing. How do you see your role in creating a connection between Israel and people supporting Israel around the world?
I see it as a responsibility to be a brand ambassador for Jerusalem and for Israel, especially right now. I would say even now more than ever before. I have a couple of very smart friends that are business consultants and wanted to see what's possible with Salves of Jerusalem, with what we're doing right now. Some of them gave me the recommendation, and I get where it's coming from, to maybe let go of the Jerusalem part, maybe come up with a shorter name, maybe tone down the fact that we're from Israel right now, maybe to do a little bit of this less so that there's no stigmas or taboos. And for me, for Rachel, for our family, it's just a non-issue. In other words, we are doubling down on our identity. I'm not hiding it. I'm not diminishing it. We're Salves of Jerusalem. We love that what we're doing is from Jerusalem, that we're taking the indigenous herbs and medicines from all over Israel, and we're using that. I don't care about how much money it would bring in to just drop ship our stuff and white label things, but it's very central to me to be a brand ambassador for Jerusalem, for Israel. We're not going to tone it down. And one of the things, especially right now, that we've been doing for years and years and years that we love doing is whenever me and my kids go on hikes all across the country, is we find beautiful stones. This is like a mosaic, from an ancient mosaic, and other rocks and things like that, bigger and smaller. And we put these in the packages that we send to our first-time customers. And wow, the feedback and the letters that we get, like, I love my salve, it's amazing, or I love my balm, it's incredible, but wow, that stone from Jerusalem that you and your family picked, it's on my mantle, it's on my fireplace. My kids love to touch it. We give it a kiss every day. So that's how important it is for me, especially nowadays.